All right, winter is just around the corner. And yeah, we're all thinking about hot chocolate and holidays, but your roof, it's getting ready for the toughest season of the year. And the biggest threats aren't always the ones you can see easily. That's exactly why we've put together this 7-point checkup to help you spot those sneaky warning signs before they blow up into a full-on winter disaster. So, let's dive right in. Okay, let's just start with a number that's, well, it's pretty startling. Nearly 4 out of every 10 homes in the U.S. have a roof that's already in poor or just so-so condition. And that's before winter even hits. Just let that sink in. There's a really decent chance your own home could be on that list right now, totally vulnerable.
And this quote from Jeff Brazola really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It is the classic out of sight, out of mind problem. We just don't think about our roofs, not until we see a dreaded water spot on the ceiling. But the thing is, those warning signs, they've probably been there for months, just waiting to be noticed.
So let's talk money, because this is where it gets really, really real. Being proactive, getting an inspection, maybe some small fixes, that might run you about $300. But waiting for an emergency? For that middle of a snowstorm catastrophe? You could be looking at $15,000, even $30,000. It's kind of wild when you see it laid out like that, right? A tiny investment now to avoid an absolute financial nightmare later.
Okay, so where do we even start? Well, the good news is you can start right from your own yard. No ladder needed, at least not yet. We're going to begin with the clues that are hiding in plain sight.
First up, let's talk shingles. You might see a shingle that's missing, or maybe the edges are starting to curl up. It's easy to dismiss that as just a little cosmetic issue, right? But in winter, that's like leaving your front door wide open for moisture. Water sneaks into those little cracks, then it freezes, it expands, and suddenly that tiny little gap is a huge problem. It's literally like a wedge being driven into the heart of your roof.
The fix for this one is pretty straightforward, but you have to be quick about it. Get any of those missing shingles replaced and have any cracked or curling ones repaired and sealed down flat, all before the first big snow. It's a simple fix that completely shuts the door on that whole destructive freeze and thaw cycle. All right, next up is a clue that almost everybody ignores. You're cleaning out your gutters and you find all this gritty, sandy stuff in there. That's not just dirt, my friend. Those are the granules from your asphalt shingles. The best way to think about them is like sunscreen for your roof. And when that sunscreen wears off, the shingle itself is left totally exposed and really vulnerable to damage.
So, what do you do about it? Well, it depends. If you're only seeing it in a couple of spots, you can probably get away with just some minor repairs. But if you're finding those granules all over the place, that's a pretty clear sign that your roof is getting old and a full replacement is probably not too far down the road.
Icicles. They can look so beautiful, almost magical, right? But if you're looking at a giant wall of icicles hanging off your roof, that's not a winter wonderland. That's a huge red flag. It's telling you your whole drainage system has failed, and the sheer weight of all that ice can literally start pulling your gutters away from the house, which puts a ton of stress on the edge of your roof. The solution here is basically a 3-part attack plan. First, you gotta give those gutters and downspouts a really good deep clean. Get everything out. Second, check where that water is going. Make sure your downspouts are pointing it far away from your foundation. And third, physically get your hands on the gutter brackets and check if any of them are loose or damaged. If they are, fix them.
Okay, so we've taken care of the outside. Now it's time to head indoors and look for clues that are a little more subtle, but honestly, they're just as critical. We're talking about your attic, your vents, and your ceilings. Let's break down one of winter's biggest villains, the ice dam. It's really just a nasty chain reaction. See, warm air from inside your house leaks into your attic. That warm air heats the roof from underneath and melts the snow. That melted water then runs down your roof until it hits the cold edge, where it refreezes into a solid block of ice. And now you've got a dam. So any more melted snow has nowhere to go, except backwards, and up underneath your shingles. It's a nightmare.
So how do you prevent this mess? Well, the long-term, real fix is to improve the insulation and ventilation in your attic. You want to keep the entire roof surface the same cold temperature. Of course, keeping those gutters clean helps a lot too. And if you need a temporary Band-Aid, heat cables can melt channels through the ice to let water escape.
And this next point connects directly to what we were just talking about. Your roof literally needs to breathe. Those vents provide critical airflow, but they can easily get clogged with leaves, animal nests, all kinds of debris. When that happens, you end up with hot spots on your roof, which causes that uneven snowmelt we just discussed, and that is a primary ingredient for making ice dams.
So, here's your quick checklist. From the outside, just clear away any gunk you see on the vents and replace any covers that look broken. Then you're going to want to pop your head up into the attic and just double check that your insulation hasn't been pushed up against the soffit vents, because that can block that all-important airflow from the inside.
Now, if you see this, the problem isn't on its way, it's already arrived. A water stain on your ceiling means your roof's defenses have already been beaten. But here's the really important thing to remember. Water is sneaky. It can travel. The actual spot where the leak is getting into your roof might be way far away from the stain you're seeing on your ceiling.
You absolutely have to act fast here. Your mission is to trace that leak back to where it started and do it now. If you can't find it quickly, or if it's not safe to look, do not hesitate. This is the moment you pick up the phone and call a professional roofer to hunt it down for you.
Okay, we've saved the most serious warning sign for last. If you stand back and look at your roofline and you see a dip or a curve or any kind of sag, this is the ultimate red flag. This isn't just about a leak anymore. This is a structural problem. It means the very framework it's holding up your roof is failing. And to really understand why this is such a code red emergency, just look at this number. A single square foot of wet, heavy snow can weigh 20 pounds. Now just try to imagine that multiplied across your entire roof. A roof that's already weak simply cannot handle that kind of crushing weight. And the solution here, it's not a suggestion, and it is absolutely not a do-it-yourself project. You need to call a structural engineer immediately. This requires a professional to come out and assess the situation to make sure your home is safe before all that winter weight gets piled on top. Phew! Okay, so we have walked through all 7 of these key warning signs, from the really simple stuff to the really scary stuff. So, what's next? Let's pull this all together and talk about how to turn this awareness into a real, concrete action plan.
Look, if you only take one single thing away from all of this today, let it be this. Being proactive and taking action early are the absolute keys to keeping your home safe this winter. It's all about finding trouble before trouble finds you.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your roof is up there working 24/7, 365 days a year, protecting you, your family, and everything you own from the elements. It never gets a day off. So the real question is, isn't it worth taking just 10 minutes to give it the checkup it deserves?